So I'm sitting here in the car, so I thought I'd do a quick video. I learned something the other day, and it's literally thinking about it, talking about it, just gives me goosebumps. So I just wanted to kind of come on here and do this. My last video, I talked to you guys about the surgeons decided that they're not going to do surgery because, just the damage in the leg, and then just they thought that it would not be a good idea. So they went against surgery and just keep doing what I'm doing. And couldn't decide how I felt about that, whether I was grateful, because on one hand, I'm extremely grateful that no surgery, because I think with every time they were decided whether they were going to do surgery or not, and they said no, for their reasons that, how bad it is. And then on the other hand, I was thinking, well, what if this surgery would actually fix things? What if this surgery would do whatever my leg needs to start healing, to just keep going with the healing process? Maybe that would have helped. That's kind of been my thing. And the reason I was thinking about that, I know you guys have heard me talk about my hospital buddy who has had the same issues throughout his surgeries. We had surgeries on the same day, both for the same thing. Mine was in the back, his was on the side. So there was some differences, but a lot of similarities in them. We were in the hospital exactly at the same time with everything. Like every time I had to go back, he was there, or he would come back right after me. The only difference was he had 4 surgeries. I had 5 when we were at the end of the hospital visits. So he left, and he had wound vac on his leg, which he had for months, and I mean months, just because the way his was, it was able to heal it better. And I had my skin graft that I left with all the complications that were happening afterwards. So after that, we were literally visiting our doctors, our plastic surgeon every single time at the same time, literally 15 minutes apart. We were in there together, so that's when we would catch up. And at one point, he missed a couple of the appointments that I had where I was there, and he wasn't. And I was like, oh, he's doing great, must be doing good, this kind of stuff. And then I saw him, and I can't remember if this was December or just before Christmas, or if it was January. I'm starting to really lose time. It's kind of crazy, but I was sitting there, and he walked in, and I'm like, holy crap, like, how are you doing, kind of thing. And I found out that he had surgery number 5. What happened was they decided to close up his leg, because the wound vac did as much as it could, and then they were just going to go in and close it. But with closing it, they had to do the debridement. I can't even remember how. I think that's something like that, where they clean it out. So they were cleaning it out, and what happened is they found that one of his arteries, which he's got the same issues with his arteries. They're extremely damaged. They're thin. The flow isn't as great. Like everything I'm happening with my arteries, he was having the same thing. But what happened with his was, because where his surgical site was, they would pack it to help with the healing and the fluids and everything else. And as they were packing it, they obviously pushed the artery where it attached itself to something on the inside of the leg. That's not a good thing. So they went in and they were detaching it. As they were doing that, the artery burst. So an 1.5-hour surgery turned into a 7.5-hour surgery to repair that. So I learned that, I think it was maybe at the beginning of January, or maybe, no, it must have been before Christmas. Anyways, so that's when I learned that, and I thought, oh wow. But when I saw him, he was actually doing really good at this point. The incisions have closed up. He was walking that might have been January. He was walking really good. Wasn't limping as bad. He was actually feeling really good about all of it. I thought, well, that's great. So, if that's kind of helped him, I mean, obviously it was a bad way of getting there, but it helped. Thank God it burst during surgery so they could fix it. But he was doing better. So there's been my thought, like, what if we do this and things start getting better? That was my thought. So I saw my surgeon in April, and that's when they decided to go against, or that they were going to decide what to do. So they were going to meet with the 2 surgeons, the plastic and ortho were going to meet together. They were going to get vascular involved and kind of decide what to do. Now, it took them a few weeks to get back to me. I think it was middle of May when I finally heard back, where they decided not to do the surgery and all that stuff. In the meantime, I hadn't seen my buddy at all. And I, think of like, must be doing great. I bet you he's happy that things are working, like no issues, no more surgeries, walking better, that kind of stuff. And then I hear this. So last week, I hear that, and thank God he was in emergency room already. Obviously, leg wasn't doing too great, so they were in the emergency room to see what was going on. While in the emergency room, and I get goosebumps because this could have turned so bad. This could have been a completely different thing. But while in the emergency room, the artery that was repaired once already burst. So he had to have emergency surgery to repair that again. So they did repair it, and they moved it to a different location, which is, great. So that had to be done. But can you imagine if he was at home? Like, can you imagine if the artery burst when he was somewhere else? Like, I've got goosebumps. So dangerous, so freaking dangerous. So thank God he was in the emergency room already when it burst, because they just did emergency surgery. They did fix it. They actually moved the artery, closed up. And because the severe damage that we both have in our legs, and because of the radiation that slows down healing, and because radiation can cause problems with infections and all that kind of stuff, he developed an infection. He's had now 7 surgeries. They had to cut him open again, and the wound is open, and he's got another wound vac, and God only knows how long that's going to be on, because again, things aren't healing properly. The infection developed, all those things all over again. And so he's back on having a wound vac, which I call a shop vac, on his leg for God knows how long. 7 surgeries. He's had 7. I'm still at 5. And this all happened around the same time that my doctors were getting together and deciding what to do with me. Whether surgery should be a go, what should they do? So I think because we both have the same surgeons, both plastic, both ortho are the same surgeons. I don't know if they're the same vascular people that they've been discussing, that he's been dealing with, because he's had vascular now doing all this. But that's what's been happening with him. And I think, at least I'm thinking that's the reason my doctors decided not to go through with the surgery for me. So now I can't even tell you how grateful I am that they decided not to do the surgery, because God only knows what could have happened. And we both keep getting told how much damage we have in our leg, how severe it is, and how slow it is healing. And it's all because of radiation. Everything goes back to the radiation damage. Anyway, so grateful that he was in emergency room when this happened, and this didn't turn out to be something a lot worse than it could have, but that it obviously could have. And now I'm not even second guessing myself about whether the surgery should have happened or not, because I'm glad it hadn't. Not gonna lie, I think I've had more deflating days than good days, especially in the mornings, trying to decide how the day's going to be, because that's when we need to decide, like, are we going to have a good day, bad day, or what should we do? Like, where's our focus going? Things haven't been great. The leg's not doing great. It's very painful. There's things happening that I don't even know how to describe. I'm exercising, and I'm doing all the things, and I'm doing extras, and I'm massaging, and I'm doing all the extra things, the red light therapy, the grounding sheet, just all the things I can possibly do to help. And with it getting worse, it gets really depressing. Like it's like, it feels like no matter what we do, we can't seem to get past this certain point. And it's not a fun place to be when you're doing, or you're trying to do everything possible that's not, and it doesn't seem to be working. It might be just me thinking it's not working. It might be obviously doing things that probably is helping, and there's probably changes and all kinds of things happening, but it just doesn't feel like it. So the mornings get harder. Getting out of bed gets harder some days. But then I remember why I get out of bed, and then I remember why I'm still grateful, and that changes. It's not easy. I still take part in it. I let it happen because it's important. Like, I need to feel all those things because we can't pretend it's not happening. That's just not it. We can't ignore it because there's just no way you can ignore something like that. And it's not like I haven't been here before. I've lived with pain. I woke up in pain and I went to bed in pain. I had years of that. And you get really good at finding ways to deal with it. You get really good of, searching for things or looking for things that, you can do to help. This isn't any different. You kind of learn how to cope with these kind of things so that you don't look like you're in pain all the time. And then, I mean, there's times that people say, like, how are you smiling through this? I'm smiling, but there's days where I'm wincing a lot and I'm squinting and I'm holding my breath and I'm breathing a lot. And there's all the different things that happen, and they happen because I've learned different coping mechanisms to how to deal with it in public, more or less. When I'm more by myself, I just, whatever. It is what it is. But when I'm out in public or when I'm around my kids or, when I'm around with family and stuff, I try and do whatever I can to make it look like it's not that bad, because some days are horrible. And we just learn how to cope with that. And it's not that it's okay, because we can't keep going on like that. Things need to change, and we're all working on that. My family doctor and I are working on things, and obviously I'll be seeing my surgeon again, both my surgeons, at the end of July after my next scans. And, we're all trying to figure things out, but it's not easy. But I am very grateful that the surgery didn't happen. Now I don't have to kind of think, and who knows, for me, it might have been different. Could have helped, I don't know. But just knowing what he went through and how dangerous that was and what could happen. It's not that it can't happen here either. Like, this artery, the issues that I'm having and the pressure and how it's squeezed, I mean, cross fingers, no, but I mean, shit can happen. Anything can happen. But obviously what he went through the last little while is a lot worse. So very grateful for that. But I wanted to talk about that because it's crazy how this radiation affects things and what it can do. And it's different for many people. And I mean, we just never know. We never know. So you got to live to the fullest. You've got to smile. You have to decide to be happy, to be positive as much as you can. Don't not, do the opposite. And if you're feeling sad, or if you're feeling angry, or if you're feeling defeated, or if you just want to cry, do all those things. Absolutely do all those things, but don't stay there. Definitely don't stay there. Life is short. And we definitely need to do the good things that we can and look past all the crap that's going on. Anyway, I just wanted to share that. So have a wonderful day. Hope you're enjoying the beautiful weather we're having. And we'll talk soon. Bye.